All right. Kenny, what is up?
Hey.
Hello, hello. So, everyone, this is my adorable cousin, Kenny Letelier, reporting live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Woo!
hmm
Yeah, what up? So, Kenny, thank you for being a guest on my show. I think, like, literally ever since we were little, even though, there's at least a decade between us, we have always been doing stupid shit together, doing like photo shoots and
hmm
music videos and all of this stuff. And I've always been the guest star, but now it's your turn. I'm going to interview the shit out of you and thank you for being on here because I want to talk about all the amazing things that you do and all the amazing qualities that you are. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh. I should get interviewed more often. This feels.
I know, right? Don't you feel special?
Yeah.
So I had to hit you up because you are one of the most creative people in our family. So I thought, I'm going to hit you up for free. I needed you on here because the world needs to know about you. And I want to hear about what you've been doing lately. So if you don't mind, take it away. Tell us about yourself, where you're currently living, and we're going to dive into a few questions that I have up my sleeve. Actually, again, I'm not wearing sleeves today. Up my
Oh,
hoodie tank top for you.
I love it. I am, let's see, well, right now I live in Las Vegas, which is where I grew up. But before that, I was in Dallas. And then before that, I was in Savannah, Georgia. So I've kind of been all over the place. I went to school in Savannah. I got a master's degree in film and television production from the Savannah College of Art and Design. And I'm a professional editor and photographer, and I do all sorts of stuff like edit music videos, anywhere from short films, documentaries to medical videos, and then for photos, everything from pets and family portraits to high fantasy costuming, underwater, all over the place.
So your portfolio is pretty diverse, I must say.
hmm
I've seen your work. It's pretty good. I love it. So with everything that's happened so far this year, a lot of your work and being on location has been halted. So
hmm
how are you dealing with that?
It yeah, it was definitely very strange because I typically work a lot of events and travel a lot, like let's say a convention every month, and that can be Maryland, California, Florida, Georgia, all over the place. Taking photos, 8 photo shoots a day for a couple of days. So clearly, none of that is gonna be happening for a while. For editing stuff, productions, all the film and TV stuff, all of that kind of halted. Editors, if you had your projects already, you were kind of set up. Typically, I work from home when I am editing, so that was okay. But then suddenly it was like projects that you're supposed to get footage for aren't going to be shooting again indefinitely. We don't know when they're coming back, and on location photo shoots and things stopped for again indefinitely. So it was a little strange. Things are kind of picking up again, and we're starting to learn how to maybe do some like socially distanced photo shoots and things like that. But it'll be a while before conventions and things are back in full swing and the normal day to day feels normal again.
Yeah, which is so crazy, and hopefully it will happen sooner rather than later. I mean, I've been watching the news with
Mm-hmm.
Vegas opening the strip back up and the spike in cases there again, and
Mm-hmm.
not having the requirement for masks, and now some of the casinos are offering it. So,
Mm-hmm.
needless to say, it's been a shit show back home, right? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, more so than usual, but yeah.
Yeah, it's so wild. So I'm glad that you're all healthy and safe and you're staying as responsible as possible.
Oh yeah.
Yes, no, I appreciate you because I always got to look out for my baby cuz.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's everyone just stay home, wear a mask, stay safe and healthy,
Wash your
please.
hands.
Wash your
Yeah,
hands.
that's it. I know I really wish I was doing this interview in person. So when I see you again, part two will be coming. So just heads up on that one.
We can compare
All
baby
right.
hands in person.
Whee! I know, put yours on. Whee!
Tiny little hands.
I know. So, Kenny actually has a hand twin. This woman who is a gondolier at the Venetian, okay? She and Kenny have literally the same exact sized hands. So they obviously became like connected, kindred spirits during our trip there, because I would always make sure that Kenny and his sister did everything on the strip when I came to town. So, and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, Katie, we never go to the strip unless you're here. And then here I am gracing them and making their lives a little bit more exciting when I would come to visit. But it was hysterical. And literally the next year, Carrie, Kenny's little sister, and I ended up seeing the same hand twin gondolier the next year and was like, do you remember us? And she literally did and was like, where's Kenny? Because, they wanted to like just touch hands and it didn't happen, but it's
Yeah.
totally fine. We're going to find her again one day.
Yeah, post-corona Verona trip.
Yes. Yes. So awesome. All right. So you are living in Vegas right now. You talked a little bit about Dallas and Savannah. So you've lived all over the world. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So
Mm-hmm.
being in an art school for what, 6 years, right? Or is it 5? 6.
6, yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, hold on, wait. So
Yeah, 4 undergrad, 2 grad. Yeah.
yes, all at SCAD. So people
Mm-hmm.
need to know that. Super cool art scene, small
Mm-hmm.
community, all of that. But tell us all the places that you've lived, and then we're going to dive into kind of the art scene for each of those and figure out which one has been your favorite thus far.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was born in LA, but only lived there until I was like 5. So don't know too much about the art scene there. But
You
then
weren't going to the
Vegas,
road
I
at like
know.
3 months old? How
I
dare
couldn't even
you?
pick up my camera yet. I wasn't strong enough. I was too
Oh,
weak.
shit.
Weak baby, I know. But then Vegas throughout like all of my childhood, Savannah for college, and while I was in Savannah living there, I also did some study abroad, and I lived in Hong Kong, and I lived in Lacoste, which is a little village in southern France. So the the art scenes in every city, it's always really interesting because it's such a like collection of the different people that live there and the different influences and like countries and things that are around them. So seeing kind of what demographics are and what places kind of contributes to what the art scene ends up being. So like Hong Kong kind of had all sorts of different little sections, but my school where it was in the middle of like an older section of Hong Kong. It wasn't really metropolitan yet. It was just kind of like the school in an old magistrate building that they take in. And so then like all the art students there, this area doesn't really feel like it would be a normally artsy place, but suddenly it turned into like this big booming art area. There's lots of big metropolitan sections that are kind of more similar to maybe like a New York, um, like a Tokyo, even some LA, with the art scene just kind of everywhere sprinkled around. Dallas definitely had like more neighborhoods that were, kind of an industrial artsy vibe, and then there was kind of like a hipstery neighborhood that maybe had more uh, non-conventional artists doing sculptures from reclaimed trash and things like that. And then Savannah has pretty much, especially the historic area downtown, has been kind of taken over by the art school. So like the entirety of Savannah is basically an art like section everywhere you go. There's sculptures and people doing sidewalk art. The South is very friendly and open, just like in speaking. So like we'll go to a park and be doing a photo shoot. People would come up and talk to us and want to know what's going on. A lot of the times would volunteer to model, whether or not we needed more models, but always nice to have people interested.
Yes.
And then Vegas is kind of, even though I've lived here for the longest, I haven't really had a lot of time to get into too much of the art scene here, just because I haven't spent a lot of time as an adult here. So I'm excited to kind of learn about where the different pockets of people are here and what kind of people are making art out here.
Which is amazing. And just to tag along to that, I'm actually a tag along myself because you studying in Hong Kong and in
Mm-hmm.
Savannah, I had the opportunity to visit you in both locations, in Savannah actually a couple of times, and then in Dallas. So we've
Mm-hmm.
actually gone to art museums in those 3 areas. So we went to the Bruce Lee Museum, remember that?
I love the Bruce Lee Museum. I still have my shirt that says Bruce Lee is my homeboy. Bruce Lee is my homeboy.
I want to go back to Hong Kong with you. It's like totally overdue. We need to do that.
Mhm.
And then at SCAD, we actually went to the SCAD Museum and then the Telfair Museum. I've been to a few different vibes. And then remember
Mhm.
that really cool contemporary art museum that we went to in Dallas?
Yeah,
I'm
I
blanking on the name right now.
yeah, I've tried. It's something just like something art gallery. Like it didn't have like a particular name that I could remember, but it was a smaller kind of old warehouse maybe that they'd filled with. There was a couple different photography exhibitions in and like a sculpture exhibition. It was just like the neatest little like museum going in, having them sectioned off and big wall projections and prints and it was very immersive for like this small little hole in the wall gallery. Wasn't expecting it when we went in.
I know that was so awesome. And then I will say the probably most artistic experience we've had in Vegas together is when you guys were little and I actually took you to the Titanic exhibit that was in the Luxor, I believe.
Yes, it was in the Luxor. And if I remember correctly, was it Carrie was the only one who survived the Titanic?
Yeah, so Carrie not only survived because you get cards upon entering, and then you end up finding out who survived, who died, all of
Mhm.
that stuff. But also, Carrie yelled at me because you are not supposed to take pictures in there. But there was one that I was like, and Carrie always plays by the rules. So she yelled at me. She's like, Katie, you're not supposed to be doing that. You know, so she blew my fun. Ugh, no, we love you, Carrie. I'm just kidding. But next time I do come out, we have to go to the Neon Sign Museum.
Yes, it's been on
I've
my list
always,
forever. I want to
yes,
see
I
it so bad.
definitely want to do that. And then those rainbow rocks, is that what it's called? Or what's the name of it?
Yeah, it's an art, an art installation. I think it's a little north of Vegas, I want to
Yeah,
say.
it's like, I think like a 45 minutes outside, maybe.
Yeah, it's like something, yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like these rainbow painted rocks that are kind of like standing up that you can go see. It's really cool. There's a couple things kind of in northern Nevada, or at least north from Vegas, of installations and just cool places. But nope, like I've never been up there. It's like everything above Vegas, it just kind of turns into Mad Max out there. So
Yes.
I don't know. It's just dirt and
And
maybe
Joshua
Reno.
trees and
Yeah.
weirdos. That's it.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, you are more than welcome to go and explore now that you're living back in Vegas full time. Although, if you do want to keep some of those places to experience with me the first time, I would appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
But you could also be my tour guide. So, if you go to all of them by the time I get out, you can be like, no, we definitely need to go to this.
Hmm. Well, and you're so up to date with everything. You're more up to date with like art exhibits and stuff than I am. So even if I do end up coming and seeing everything that there is to see, suddenly you'll show up and be like, oh, what about these 18 distinct cool galleries that you've never heard of that are going to change your life? I'm like,
You know
please.
how they're going to change your life is because one day your work is actually going to be in them. So that's the vibe that we need to
Hmm.
manifest. We got
Well,
to get you.
perfect. Yeah, we can get you out here, get you some nice photo shoots with those cool glasses.
Oh, these glasses that you speak of?
Yes, and that's what's going to get us into one of those 18 little galleries that will change my life. So clearly, we just
Thank
got to
you,
get
Gucci,
together.
for making me so fabulous. Gucci Hollywood forever. Mm.
Oh, you don't need Gucci to be fabulous.
Oh,
You
thank
make the
you.
Gucci fabulous.
Oh, right. As again, I'm wearing like a hooded sweatshirt that's from Target. You know, it's so annoying. So, out of all of the cities that you've lived in, which one has been your favorite? Because they are all so different. So, I actually just want to hear from your experience. And now that you're an adult, you're in your early to mid 20s. Oh,
Hmm.
that's so crazy to say that.
After 21, I feel like I stopped aging. I don't even remember half the
Good.
time.
Yeah,
Like
you're
I hit
Benjamin
21 and
Button.
now it's like,
You're like, I don't know. I don't know. So
um,
now that you're an adult, you've had amazing experiences being able to travel Europe, Asia, all over the US. Like, where
mhm.
has been your most favorite place to live?
uh, gosh, it's so hard because there's great things about each place. I'll say when I lived in Lacoste, which is a little village in the south of France, when school's not in session, I think that there's 7 people that live there. Like when I say it's a small village, it's a small village. It's like the very top of a hill.
Like literally just 7 people, which is probably one family that lives
It's
there.
like the person who's like in charge of the like Maison Basse, which is there's like a mansion at the base of the hill that some of the students live in. The
Okay.
woman who's like in charge of the program, and then there's I think 2 cafes in the entire village. Those are the only like businesses or anything at all. And I think each of them is run by like a person and maybe their significant other. There's another village like on the other side of the valley that's a little bigger that I think some of the people live in. But when I say, and it's tiny, it was the Marquis de Sade's village. He had a chateau at the top, so it was his village. So quite the
Wow.
legacy to be living
Yeah,
there.
seriously. I'm like, how do I
But
sign up for that lifestyle, right?
but that it was just so quiet and peaceful and very restorative. It just felt like, and it was the quarter after, 'cause my school was in quarters. I did Hong Kong, and then the next quarter I went to Lacoste. So probably like the most different it could possibly be, or maybe there's one quarter in between, but it was just so nice and quiet and peaceful, and it felt like you could really kind of get in touch with yourself and kind of what you wanted to do and reset everything. Uh, but then on the flip side of that, I also really enjoyed Hong Kong because it's nice to live in like a big city. I love the public transit. I'm in Hong Kong and in Japan, like anything with the fast trains, it's just great. But I like Savannah because I like walking a lot, and it's a walking city. I liked Dallas because I like the space and the different art vibes. But I think at the end of the day, I think Vegas. That's where I ended up. That's where I grew up, and it feels just like I love going and living in these other places, but I never feel like the most like at home than I do when I'm here.
Yeah. Well, now it's coming full circle. Now that you're
Mm-hmm.
back there, and we should talk about you starring in the next show of Cirque du Soleil coming out. You didn't tell the
Oh, I know. I'm
viewers.
headlining. I'm a professional contortion juggler. It's just, at the bottom of my resume. It's just a little asterisk.
You're like, it's in the fine print. Nobody
Yeah,
really
yeah.
sees it. So that's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, and just piggybacking off of Hong Kong, going through that train system, I'm like, oh my God, the MTR like honestly puts any subway system in the US to shame. It is
Mm-hmm.
clean, it is efficient, they
Mm-hmm.
have an enter and exit off of the train line. I mean, everything
Mm-hmm.
was so fluid. I'm like, okay, well, Boston always touts themselves on being like the oldest subway system in the US. And it's true because the quality of it shows that it's the first, that they've made like no improvements. So actually going on the MTR in Hong Kong was crazy. But I loved the experience out there. I mean, we got to do some
Mm-hmm.
really cool things going to Ocean Park.
Mm-hmm.
And, I went off with Ashley to go to the nail salon and have tea, afternoon
Mm-hmm.
tea, and just a different experience. We walked the street market. We went on a cruise. Tell them about the cruise.
Oh, it was like a Halloween night cruise that we went with. It was the two of us and then some roommates and friends of mine from Hong Kong. So we went on and we had like, go in costumes, and they had a bunch of DJs set up. And then we were given like these stamp cards, and there was like people walking around that worked up for the ship that were dressed as like horror characters. And if you like ran around and found them, they would stamp your card. And if you got enough stamps, you get like a free drink. We tried to find all the people, and by the time we'd even gotten like a couple of them, they'd already stopped it. We spent too long chasing down a bloody doll girl in the hallway, nowhere near the party. But it was fun. It was like a Halloween cruise in Hong Kong. Like,
It was
that's
so wild.
wild.
So before I got there, Kenny was just like, hey, Katie, like, we're going to go on this cruise. It's on Halloween. Bring a costume. That's it. Like, that's all I knew, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what kind of costume can I fit into my suitcase? All this stuff. So I go rolling up with like peacock wings and a mask and the gloves. Tell me why everybody else that we went with didn't bring a costume. I was like the only one. I mean, Evie did dress up as a pirate a little bit, but I was like full blown costume, and everybody else that we were with were totally just in like regular clothes. So I was like,
Yeah.
wah, wah, wah. And then we literally get to the harbor to start docking or getting
Mhm.
onto the cruise, and they're like, yeah, you need to forfeit your passport. I'm like, excuse me, what? Wait, so you want my passport? So are you gonna throw me off the boat in the South China Sea right now? Is that what we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
do right now? So that was like low-key frightening, but we're alive. We're here telling the story 5 years
Mm-hmm.
later. So I mean, I guess we're all right. It was worth it.
Unless that bloody doll in the hallway really did get us, and we've just been like astral projecting from that ship in Hong Kong.
Oh, do you need to
Yeah.
answer that?
I
I'm just
don't
kidding.
know who it is. I'm assuming they're leaving something on our door. We'll find out.
Maybe it's actually the bloody person from the cruise
She
ship.
heard me. Oh God.
From all these thousands of miles away and all these years later. She's like, I'm back, bitch. Okay. Um, awesome. All right. So we talked a little bit about your artwork, how it's been stalled because of COVID, all the stupid bullshit that 2020 has done to us. But
Mm-hmm.
is there anything that you're working on right now that you want to talk about, or anything that you had wrapped up before we closed the world down?
Yeah, I've been past couple of projects I've had. I've been working on some music videos, which I really love. But my current project, I'm working on a short film with a director that I met when I was in film school. Still, his name's Quint, and we did a music video to LP's Muddy Waters a couple years ago, and it's doing really well. I think it's finishing up its film festival circuits right now, but it's still getting awards and things, which is always very nice and exciting to see your hard work getting recognized. But we're working on a short narrative, kind of dealing with uh, self acceptance and uh, juggling different. That's what I'm looking for here. Try not to give things away too much. But yeah, it's kind of about self acceptance and realizing why maybe you build up walls around yourself and why people might act out against things that might not be what the underlying issue actually is. But it's been a really nice kind of change of pace. I don't get the chance to work on a lot of like dialogue heavy, um, maybe emotional, more intimate pieces. I typically do a lot of like music videos or fashion films or documentaries. Um, but it's fun kind of working with just kind of a conversation, let the words and the performances lead the direction, and really just kind of honing in on those emotional moments and when the correct time to transition and break those frames are. So it's been really nice, and I'm excited to see it as it progresses. And we've kind of like it's like a college roundup of the director, cinematographer, the colorist, and I. We've all went to school together, so it's nice that even with the world shutting down and everything, that we've been able to continue to work on this and kind of keep tabs on each other. And they were able to shoot before Corona kind of took over. So now all the post stuff is happening in its happy little bubble. So it's like the one facet of my life that seemingly did not get affected by Corona.
Good, good. No, that, I mean, it's so hard. Like you said, you have the ability to work from home, but being on
Mm-hmm.
location and get things rolling and projects always moving. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it really is having the ability to be on location, to be around
Mm-hmm.
people, to continue to do all that. But I love how you're working on deeper things right now. So you talked on more of the emotional level and
Mm-hmm.
doing all of that. And I feel like your life coming into adulthood is something that you would have similar experiences that you could resonate. And I
Mm-hmm.
think having that connection to your work makes it even more powerful to be doing this type of
Oh
work.
yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's really nice because, fashion is fun, fashion is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's the business is way too serious that it even needs to be. I'm like, you're making clothes and you're selling clothes. Like, we're not
Yes.
solving world hunger right now. Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
filming a model wearing a piece of luxury clothing. And I'm
Yeah.
totally saying this even though I work in luxury retail, but
Yeah.
to yeah, whatever.
No, but
But
it's fun and it's art. And that's what it should be, you know?
that's what it should be. But having these music videos or different films or anything that you're working on that really have a powerful message
Mm-hmm.
behind, I feel like is that much more rewarding once you have finished working on it and you can see it on the screen and be like, I did that.
Oh yeah.
I am the shit.
And
I'm in
the film itself has to do with kind of like LGBT themes, and that's something that's important to me and the director because we're both a part of the LGBT community. So it's kind of, and he usually does music videos or some theme pieces, like either period pieces or genre pieces. And so this has both kind of been a good study for us, but focusing on a subject that is important to both of us, that we care about, that we can draw from our past experiences to help kind of make it feel more genuine. It's been really rewarding in a way that, you know, past projects might be flashy and fun, and it's fun to show, but it doesn't resonate in the same way that like a dealing with internalized issues kind of story does.
No, thank you for sharing that. It's so deep. I love you. I want to hug you right now. Um,
You know,
so
hug.
just I know me. So okay, so for as long as I can remember, you've had a camera in your hand and you've been taking pictures.
Mhm.
But don't think I ever asked you like what your inspiration was. Like, how did you get started doing what you're doing right now? Like, what kind of sparked this interest?
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, for as long as I can remember, as long as I could pick up a camera, I was taking pictures.
No, you're a weak baby and
Um,
you couldn't do it for your first
I
trip.
know I had to do a lot of push-ups to finally be able to pick up those old cameras, but I got there. I was a strong baby in the end. But yeah, I kind of was always just interested in images and things like that. And then in sixth grade, I took a photography elective, which was like my first photography class. And I had a teacher, Mr. Finfrock, who I love dearly, and he started teaching us Photoshop. And I think it was in sixth grade, you got to work with film cameras, and in seventh grade, you got to start working with digital and Photoshop. And so that's where I started really learning and playing and realizing like how much you could do with it. And then between you, who liked art and fashion, and having my little sister, who's a performer, I always had like models and people who were down to kind of like play, and we would go put on costumes and makeup and go take pictures. And then I was always kind of into like anime and cartoons, and then I discovered cosplaying or costuming in like eighth grade. And so I started finding out that there was all these people who, you know, put hundreds of hours into making these crazy elaborate costumes. And I could take a picture of them. Like they're doing all this work and I get to take a picture of it.
You feel
Like
so honored. You're
it
like,
was so
this is
exciting.
awesome. Yes,
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
like who you get a call, like who doesn't want to take a picture of Cinderella? Like, come on, like that's so exciting. So I started learning about that, and then going to colleges, I started cosplaying myself and going to conventions. And then I realized like there's so many people who want photos and not a lot of photographers, or don't know really where to find them or how to make the connections, find someone whose style you like. So then I started uh, kind of holding photo shoots at conventions, and that took off, and then eventually led to me pre-corona. That was pretty much what I was doing full time, was going and taking like costume photos. But yeah, it's always been something really important to me, photography and art in general. So just kind of seeing those little moments in my life as they kind of built up a path until I ended up here is pretty cool.
That's so cool. Now, with your permission, can I show the viewers the Shoes by Onyx videos?
Yes, absolutely. Um, Truly, like maybe one like that might be the peak. Like I know I went to grad school like many years after that, but I think that's really where I peaked. That was film peak for me. Incredible. Yeah, it was
I feel like I peaked at like 13 years old or
I
however old you
mean,
were.
you peak when
Hold
you
on.
peak, and Shoes Bionics is really
Yeah,
sick.
I'm gonna pull it up on Facebook right now because I'm like I need to seriously check this out when I posted that because that was probably what like 2009,
Yeah,
10?
I'm struggling to remember if I was in high school yet or if I was like eighth grade, something like that. It could have been a long time ago.
Oh my God, hold on.
It was what we went down to the strip, and there was a shoe store there, shoes with two O's, I believe,
Yeah.
and a Z, I think,
Yes.
something like that. And there was these shoes there that Katie liked and ended up getting, and we decided to do a shoe commercial when we came home. I think we did a couple, but fashion, marketing, all that just truly always run in our blood clearly, because if 13 can make probably the best fashion ad ever made, then I don't know. The
Right.
future's not too bright.
I'm seriously trying to find it right now, but by the time I actually air this interview, I will find a clip. But I mean, like literally, there's a picture of me holding like Louboutin shoes while on the strip. You were with me. We were in Barney's when that
Oh, yes.
happened. I'm like,
And I was very nervous. I used to be very afraid going into those luxury stores. Everything
like,
was so expensive. I was like,
come
if I
on.
breathe too hard, I'm going to break something. And then Katie's like, let's go try out some shoes. And I'm like, we can do that? Like, that's an option.
Wait, shoes can be put on your feet? What?
Yep. No,
Huh?
as soon as the price tag comes up that much, I'm like, whatever the original item was, I don't know. Now it's like the most expensive computer in the world. I don't want to be near it. I don't want to, like, this scarf is worth more than everything
My
on me.
life.
Like, I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna have to find it. I'm not gonna sit on my phone the entire time while I interview you. But yeah, you're gonna see some of Kenny's quality work from
Hmm.
an early age, and then we also had the photo shoot near the pool. Remember when my hair was teased and I had the feather eyelashes on?
Yes, 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 yes.
Or
That was, we've done many a shoot, but that one's really classic. Maybe we should revisit that one, and we can do it now that I'm an actual photographer. We
you
can
know
do
what? I still have those lashes, and I have a second set as a backup just in case. So I'm down for it when you are.
yeah, sounds like we're gonna have to do like a recreation and show ourselves up. So
Yeah. No, I'm down for it. All right, let me start booking my flight now. All right, let me come on out. So, all right, I want to wrap this up because I have to actually get going, even though I want
mhm,
to talk to you forever. But my question for you, out of all the work that you've done, literally from such a young age
mhm.
to where you are currently, what is the most awkward experience you've had while shooting? I have one of my favorite stories of yours, but I want to hear from you first.
See, my question now to you is the story you're thinking of. Is it the headshot stranger? Yeah, yeah,
Know me
because that
too
is,
well. You know me
yeah,
too
that
well.
is absolutely. I was thinking, I was like, okay, awkward stories. I'm like, I can think of some things, but that's really. Should I? Do you want me to tell it, or do you want to
Yes,
see if you can? Yeah,
please.
okay. So when I was in college, when I was still learning how to do headshots, a lot of people would like offer really discounted headshots, basically for the other students at the school, so everyone could get kind of practice doing what they're doing. So that's what I was doing, and I had set up a headshot for this older man for an afternoon. We were going to meet here at this time. Perfect. I'd been doing this for a couple weeks now, so I kind of knew the routine. So I went down to where the area was that we usually meet, and I sat down on the bench where I usually wait for people to come. And while I'm waiting there, I text the guy, okay, I'm here, great. And then suddenly a man sits down next to me. I turn, I was like, oh, hey, are you my 1 o'clock? And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And I was like, perfect, great. Phone in my pocket, get up, start chatting, doing our shoot. Um, Preface this with when I was doing booking headshots, everything was through email. So like I didn't know necessarily what this person looked like. But okay, so he said he was my 1 o'clock. Great. We go around, we walk, do our shoots, we're chatting. I kind of do my usual spiel, like, how are you doing? Walking him through the shoot. Are you like excited for any upcoming projects? That kind of stuff. It's kind of quiet and a little awkward, but it's a random person taking your photo. People sometimes get a little awkward. It's okay. So we continue on. We finish up the shoot. I'm like, perfect. Are there any other shots that you can think of that you need? He's like, no, we're good. I'm like, okay, perfect. So this is the price we agreed on. It's time to pay. And he kind of looked at me for a second. He was like, yeah, okay. And he took out his wallet and then he paid me the money. And I was like, perfect, great. Well, have a great day. Great, you too. Part ways, go about my day. And then as I was walking away, I look at my phone and I see I have a message. Guy says, hey, I can't find you. Where are you? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, did you forget something? Like, did you put something in my camera bag? He was like, no, we had a photo shoot booked for one. And I was like, yeah, we just did it. And he was like, no, I got I was running a little late. I'm at the spot now. Are you still here? And I was like, looking at my camera, who's this man whose headshots I just took? Why did he go along with it? Why did he pay me at the end? Like,
Right.
because from his perspective, I'm a random person. He sat down next to him, just started chatting, and it's the South, so people chat. Like, it's not like Vegas, people actually talk
The
to
people
just
in
each
Vegas
other
are
on
like,
the street. Yeah,
yeah.
chatting. I was like, "Are you my 1 o'clock?" He said yes. He let me take photos of him. At the end, I asked for money, and he gave it to me. And yeah, so I didn't have that man's contact information because I thought it was the guy that I was supposed to be doing shoots. So I have headshots of this random man. I don't know who he is. He paid me for them. I don't.
Right.
I ended up doing the shoot with the original guy like the next day, and that worked out. But to this day, I just sometimes I open up my like Lightroom, the photo editing program, and his thumbnail comes up. And I'm like, who are you, sir?
I
Like, what's
love
your life
that.
story? Like,
Because it's like there was no exchanging of information like, hey, you can email the photos to me later. He just like gave you money and went on his way.
yep.
And you're like, all these years later, you're haunted by that little thumbnail that pops up.
Because even if he did think I was just a random street photographer, wouldn't he then ask for a way to get the to this day that's definitely the most awkward because I don't think I've ever accidentally done a shoot with the wrong person who paid me and then never got
Their
that's the
work.
only
Yeah.
so whoever that man is, if you want those photos, I still got them.
If you're
If you want
watching,
'em.
just by chance, you're
Yeah.
watching this video and you were in Savannah, Georgia, like 4 years ago, and you randomly met somebody on a park bench
Mm-hmm.
and they took your photo and you paid them. We're talking about you, sir.
Yes.
We're talking about you. I think that you should post it to like any kind of like Savannah community Facebook page or whatever, and you'd be like, have you seen this man?
Yeah,
And
like
then
missing
post his photo.
child, like please call his mom, we're very
We'll
worried.
put him on a milk carton.
Yeah. Be like, have you seen my son? I know he's like 60 years older than me, but have you seen him? I don't know where he went. I lost him like years ago in a park and he paid me.
Oh my God. No, I loved it because when you originally told me that story, it was just like the awkwardness was just pouring out of it. The further and further you went on, I'm like, wait, so this dude like really just like sat next to you, agreed to have his photo taken, paid you, left, to never then be seen or heard from again.
And we were like walking around the little downtown area, going into all sorts of different places, taking his photo, double like checking it with him to see like, do you want any other expressions? Are we wanting like commercial headshots? Are you smiley? Are these dramatic headshots? Are you more serious? And like, a couple of each, whatever you think. Okay, so I'll just do the whole spread, but
I don't know. We have to find this man.
2021, after Corona has exited, it's going to be the year of finding the man. Yes. I don't know what man, but the man.
The man, that's his name. The man.
The man. He's the man, and we're going to find him.
He literally, you're the man. The man.
The man. What, the man, the myth, the legend, the man.
Yes. Man. What? No, that was... Kenny, I love you so much. Thank you so much for virtually meeting with me. I'm going to just keep whining.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I can't wait for our in-person sequel with included photo shoot. It's going to be a fashion film.
I will pay you,
Bionics.
But I will also expect my work. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I can see if I can have it done as long as you're not going to suddenly disappear or like turn into a man and vanish. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get the joke. Know. This is clearly, it's getting to that time. I haven't had my soda yet for the afternoon.
Don't worry. I've got some fresh limeade for you. Brought to you by Simply Limeade.
Just pour it directly into my mouth.
Yeah, here. On my brand new computer.
Yeah.
No, I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. You have to come back, tell us a little bit more about the projects that you're getting once the world starts opening up and life happens. I want to hear what you're doing, but best wishes.
Thank you. Love you too.
And no, I'm sure I'll talk to you soon for sure, but safe travels in all of this BS that's happening. And
I love you.
Bye. I love you. All right. Bye.